I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Lori Piper is speaking on Create Your Own Luck for this Friday the 13th. It's a great topic. Lori is a sought after author and the visionary founder of Journey to Inner Joy. With her unique healing wisdom, she empowers overwhelmed women to set crucial boundaries, supporting their mental, physical, and spiritual well being. Lori guides women to break free from exhaustion, igniting a path to vibrant, joyful living. You can visit Lori's website and find out more about her at journeytoinnerjoy.com. Lori, thank you for being with us this morning. And you're on.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Jenny, for having me again because I've done this before and I love it. And I really appreciate everything you do for us. When I saw that there was an opening to speak on Friday the 13th, I had to sign up. And of course, I have my little black cats and all that earrings, just to make it a little woo-woo. But when we talk about luck and creating your own luck, sometimes I know people who say, "Oh, I'm just not lucky." And as a matter of fact, a friend of mine, she would say, "I never win anything." She would, and someone in the breakout rooms was talking about this too, not in the same way, but talking about buying raffle tickets and not believing that they're going to win. She would buy raffle tickets to support the cause. But she kept saying, but I never win. I never win. And it's funny because over the years I'm thinking, wait a minute, you won this and you've won this. And so finally she started realizing that, okay, she does win. And she started winning more. Now, why do I even bring that up? That is really the crux of my talk today. It's we create our own luck. And today I'm hoping to encourage you and inspire you to know that you can create your own luck and start making some shifts so that you do create your own luck. And first, I want to talk about the origin of Friday the 13th. Well, I mean, it's a date, right? But the origin of Friday the 13th being associated with bad luck. And I think it was Mia that mentioned it earlier that the Knights Templar, who were monks who were also crusaders and essentially the army protecting the Holy Land, protecting things like the Ark of the Covenant and all the treasures of the church at the time. And on a Friday the 13th, many of them were arrested and later put to death. But I did some research, some quick research on this the other day. However, it wasn't until, some say it wasn't until much later that Friday the 13th was associated with bad luck. And some attribute this to a book that was written called Friday the 13th, where the author said that the number 13 prior to the 20th century was considered bad luck. And Fridays in general were considered bad luck. How can Happy Hour Friday be bad luck? No, that doesn't make sense to me. So Friday the 13th, however it occurred, became a day of alleged bad luck. And as the lovely ladies in our group today said, none of us really think of it as good or bad luck. And my first point in this is your belief system. We look at somebody who we think is very successful and we'll say, oh my gosh, that person was born lucky. Oh, that lady touches anything and it turns to gold. So why do some people have all this good fortune and others don't? And a lot of it does have to do with your mindset, your belief system. And I'm not talking about necessarily spiritual belief, but just belief in the world. Is the world good or bad? How do we label things? I love this. I love Dawson Church, and I love this book called Bliss Brain. Yeah, I've got a lot of little notes here. If you're ever interested in how the brain works, this is a really good book to check out, and I reference it all the time. So our brain, um, first of all, our belief system, Dawson Church has said that studies have shown that when you believe in a higher power that is benevolent, then you see the world with more positivity. When you look at the world as being, when you believe in a punishing higher power, you see the world with some fear. Now, why would that be? If you believe in a benevolent higher power, you believe that you are being supported. You believe that you are being uplifted. You believe that you are loved. And that even if you make a mistake, it's okay. The benevolent higher power understands and will guide you. If you believe in a punishing higher power, then you live in more fear. Why would you live in more fear? Well, there's the fear of if I do something wrong, then I'm going to be punished. So for instance, maybe you're up for a promotion, and I've heard a similar story of a friend where something similar to this happened. I'm paraphrasing, but up for a promotion, and the weekend prior to them making an announcement, evidently this person was not so nice and did some not nice things. And on Monday, they found out that they did not get the promotion. They looked at that as being punishment because they were bad. And when you have that thought process, you start being afraid to take chances, and you start thinking small, and you have blocks. So, and why is this? Now, I want to jump now into how your brain works, because it does kind of make sense, your beliefs, and if you're afraid, you're not going to take chances, and you might be holding yourself back. The brain plays a really big part in this. The number one job for your brain is to keep you safe. To keep you safe. Now, how does it keep you safe? Well, first of all, you have the autonomic nervous system that is managing your major organs and keeping them working, and you don't have to think about it, right? You don't have to think about, okay, heart, it's time for you to beat, keep beating, keep beating. You don't have to tell your lungs to breathe. You don't have to tell your digestive system it's time to digest. If you had to do all that stuff intentionally, then you would never get anything done. You would be spending your entire day doing that. The autonomic nervous system also is in charge of, for lack of better words, the fight or flight and rest and restore. And when you are in fight or flight, you immediately react. The body, your major organs immediately react. And they react to keep you safe. So if you're about to walk out in front of a car and they beep the horn, you will immediately react and hopefully jump out of the way. Hopefully you don't freeze at that point. That is your autonomic nervous system. That is your brain keeping you safe. Now, that's a good thing, but it also keeps you safe by pointing out the dangers. When that part of our brain was being developed, this was back in prehistoric days when you were always out on the lookout for that saber-toothed tiger. So you almost had to be paranoid because you never knew where that tiger was. People who, this story now, obviously nobody really knows that this is true, but it makes sense that those people who were not on the lookout back in prehistoric days are more likely to not live, and therefore they would not be proliferating with babies and etc. So those people who are a little more paranoid ended up populating the earth, and that is us. Thank you. That is us. So the brain does keep fear top of mind so that you are safe. It looks at most of the world as threats. It also keeps you stuck. Now, when we think about this and then think about how many thoughts we have a day, we have 80 to 90,000 thoughts a day. Of those, 70 to 80% are negative. And why is that? That's because the brain is trying to keep you safe, trying to keep us safe. Now, the problem with that is what you're thinking, you become. So Deepak Chopra, big fan of Deepak Chopra, he once said, if you want to know what you were thinking 5 years ago, look at who you are and the decisions you make right now. If you want to know who you're going to be in 5 years, look at your thoughts right now. So if you're living in that place of fear right now, very fearful and not taking chances, that will impact your future, obviously. But more than that, your brain wants you to be right. So earlier when I said my friend would always say, I never win anything. I never win anything. Your brain wants you to be right. So it will make it happen. The universe is listening, whether or not you believe in a higher power and the universe with having any intelligence. I'm sorry to tell you that science is proving it to be that the universe does have intelligence. So whether you want to believe it or not, modern quantum physics is proving that the universe has intelligence and listens to us. Now I got a little off course there. So the brain wants you to be right. The brain also filters a large portion of our sensory inputs. So if you think about your 5 senses, what you see, what you smell, what you hear, what you taste, what you feel, did I get all 5? All of those sensory inputs, I invite you to take about 10 seconds and look around and try to count everything just in your visual sensory. And then maybe add to that what you're hearing. And then add to that what you're feeling, like your chair. And in just 10 seconds, how many things do you count? I did this little exercise, it's been months ago. And in 10 seconds, I counted about 300 things. And that was only what is in front of me. I need to clean my office, I think. So the brain filters out. There is no way your brain could handle all of the sensory input that is coming at us at one time. So it filters. What does it filter? It filters in those things that you believe and filters out those things that don't contribute to those beliefs. So if you believe that the world is going to hell in a handbasket and there's no hope and everything is bad and bad things happen to me all the time, then the universe is going to show you that. Your brain, your physical brain is going to filter out anything that does not promote and support what you're thinking, what your belief system is. Add to that any spiritual belief, which, by the way, people who have a spiritual belief do live longer, tend to live longer, have a better outlook, have more luck. So anyway, that's just my little tidbit there. Now, so we talked about luck, good luck, bad luck, how your brain works. And if you've been raised to fear the world, then you are going to have a more negative outlook on life. If you were raised to believe that the world is good and kind, then you're going to have a more positive outlook. Now, let's say for whatever reason, I grew up with a positive outlook, but my 40 years of corporate America kind of shifted my brain and taught me to be a little less positive and a little more negative, which luckily I had the good luck to turn that around. But how do you turn it around? Be in silence. When we are, especially if you're turning on the news, and that when we're in silence and the craziness in the brain mellows out a little bit, that's when our heart can start speaking. That's when our heart and soul and our body start saying, hey, wait a minute, life's not that bad. I'm still here. I still have my health. And more importantly, again, I've heard this from multiple people, but I first heard it from Deepak Chopra when asked, what's the difference between prayer and meditation? And Deepak said, prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening to God. And I never believed I could meditate until I learned primordial sound meditation. I bring this up because this particular meditation I was able to do on a regular basis, and it changed my life. It allowed me to manifest miracles, which there's a 3-part article in the On Purpose Women magazine, I think it was from last year, on how to manifest miracles. And it all came from what I learned about primordial sound meditation and how to apply it. And what I'd like to do with everyone, yes, we still have time, is I want to teach you a little bit of this. So whether you meditate or not, there are the key things that really made the primordial sound meditation different. 2 of the 3 key things are setting a positive intention, how to set a positive intention, and the 4 soul questions. And I love the 4 soul questions. So if you will all just join in with me and play along with me, just sit up and straight if you want, if it's comfortable. If you want to close your eyes, fine. If you don't, that's okay too. And just take a deep inhale, expanding your belly. Now, when you expand your belly on the inhale, you are telling your autonomic nervous system you are safe and you can go into rest and restore. If you're breathing just in your upper chest, then you are telling your autonomic nervous system that you are in fear for your life, and it will trigger fight or flight. So when you're trying to calm, make sure you're expanding your belly. Just do that a couple times. And if you want to exhale with a sigh, a grunt, a scream. Sometimes I do have to exhale with a scream and get all that negativity out. And then set a positive intention. A positive intention. So for me, I have to record a 5-minute speech later today. And so for me, it would be positive would be, may I speak about things that the users want to hear and will uplift them, give them some positive information. A negative example of an intention would be, oh, please don't let me suck. Okay, so hopefully I'm allowed to say that word on this recording. So make it positive. Make it positive. Now, after you've set your intention, just let it go. Don't analyze it. Don't try to make it happen. Just let it go. The intelligence of the universe is listening. And now my favorite, the 4 soul questions. Again, bring your attention to your heart center and ask, who am I? And then be in silence. And let bubble up whatever bubbles up. Typically, it'll be your name, your job title, things like that. As you keep asking, who am I? Who am I? and be in that silence, you'll be surprised the things that might come up. No judgment here, no judgment, just let it be, let it come. And the next is, what do I desire? And I use desire instead of want, because want is future, which may never happen. Desire is past, present, future. I may have desired it in the past, I can desire it now, and I can desire it in the future. So what do I desire? What is it that I really desire in this life? And again, no judgment. If something bubbles up, let it go. If something doesn't bubble up, let that go. You're doing it right. It's okay. What is my purpose? Why am I here in this lifetime? Same thing. Repeat the question if you need to yourself. If something comes up, great. If something doesn't come up, no judgment. And finally, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And this is very powerful. Many, many, many studies have been done that a gratitude practice can truly change your life in a positive way. And my guess is many, if not all of the ladies here today have some kind of gratitude practice. But if you can think of 3 things that you're grateful for in the morning when you wake up and in the evening before you go to bed, 3 different things, make them as different as possible. That starts tricking your brain to know, or teaching your brain that life is good and you are blessed. So if you have your eyes closed, you can go ahead and open your eyes. If you're interested, I will put those soul questions in the chat. Now, with the primordial sound meditation, the idea is to go into your silent meditation, your mantra meditation right afterwards. And it's amazing what will bubble up then. That's one of the ways I manifested a job that had similar income with the same company, but tons less stress. My brain could not even imagine that such a job existed in the company that I used to work for, but it did, and the universe found it for me. And that is the only reason I survived the last 5 years of my corporate career. It wasn't that bad. So if you are serious about shifting your luck, if anytime a negative thought comes, and don't do this in a paranoid way, but simple things, okay? If I'm having a bad day, I have this little cutie patootie up on my credenza here, and it just makes me smile. I know it's Christmas, it's a Christmas cutie patootie, but I love it. I have a ceramic face. It's a really funny face that one of my clients made for me to thank me for the meditation practices. Surround yourself with them to remind you that there is something to be grateful for. There is happiness. There is laughter and love in your life. And the more you can do that, the more you can shift your thought process and get into that more positive, less negativity. You will have clarity of thought. You will realize your purpose and potential, and you will live your most vibrant life. And with that, that leaves us some time for questions. So thank you, Jenny, so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori. I'm going to ask those of you with us here on Zoom to please unmute yourselves so we can hoop and holler and give Lori some applause for that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful reminder for some of us, new news for maybe some of us. Yeah, good stuff.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Lori. Awesome.
Inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wrap up the recording and then we will take some questions. I want to thank you, Lori. Thank you again. You always deliver anytime that you speak for the community. I really appreciate you. Excuse me. And I want to thank anyone who's watching this live or the replay on our YouTube channel. Please check out all the other women on our channel who share their gifts, their wisdom, and their expertise to inspire you to move forward, whether it be about your business or other parts of your life. If you want to join us for one of our Zoom gatherings, go to my website, opwgc.com, and check out. You can find out all about our community as well as our in-person meetings in Columbia, Maryland, and Tallahassee, Florida. I do also want to remind you that Lori's website, Journey to Inner Joy, is also in the text of this video, and check out her work, especially if you resonated with that meditation, because that's her thing. That's one of the things that she's really good at. So thanks for watching.